Hello and welcome to another beautiful episode of Healthy Living, reaching you from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Olamide Alhassan, and today on the program we'll discuss World Mosquito Day 2024 with a focus to staying safe and protecting yourself as the theme of this year connotes. I know someone is wondering why Mosquito Day? Well, despite the fact that it sounds irrelevant, if not properly managed, could lead to malaria sickness and on some occasions even death. Now, World Mosquito Day is a stark reminder of mosquitoes' devastating impact on global health. And this day is significant as it commemorates Sir Ronald Ross's groundbreaking discovery in 1897 that linked mosquito to malaria transmission. Today, as we face a significant increase in mosquito-borne diseases worldwide, raising awareness and taking collective action is essential to combat this pressing health challenge. World Mosquito Day is observed on August 20th of each year to raise awareness about the causes of malaria and how it can best be prevented. Now, prevalence of malaria on our health has been hugely linked to our environment. Hence, the need to look at the environmental influence on World Mosquito Day, especially taking proactive measures. To do justice to this, we have Sanitarian Egene Tijani Eneojo to educate us. But before he joins us, stick around. Once again, Sanitarian Tijani Egene Eneojo, we really do appreciate you for coming again today.
Thank you as always. I'm glad to always come around to discuss on one or two issues regarding our environment.
Of course, definitely.
Yeah.
Now, because we're discussing on World Mosquito Day 2024, in fact, people would be amazed, like, why celebrate World Mosquito Day? But in as much as it sounds irrelevant, I feel like most persons do not understand the detriment of having mosquitoes, being in our environment and what it can actually cause to our health. Could you please enlighten people, at least an introductory way of what and the reason and the significance of World Mosquito Day?
World Mosquito Day is very important to celebrate because of what mosquito did in our environment, especially in the Sahara Africa. So this become important because of how it has caused so many things to the population, how it has caused financial constraints to the people in the course of treating what disease that mosquito can cause. When you talk of this mosquito, it's just a small insect, right, with a long proboscis that's used to bite and long leg. When you
say proboscis, could you just break that down?
Yeah, that is
for the benefit of those that do not even understand what that means.
That is their mouth they use to pinch the body.
Thank you.
The mouth they use to pinch the skin that penetrate the skins of human, and in the course of that they suck blood. In the course of that, it causes irritations and pains as a result of the bite. And when you try to scratch it, you see how it will start swelling up, therefore developing another things entirely. And these mosquitoes are not only known by biting alone, they cause different kinds of diseases in our country and all over the world. Disease like malaria fever, disease like dengue fever, yellow fevers, Zika virus, and night mild diseases. So these are as a result of the presence of the bite of mosquitoes.
You mentioned dengue fever, if I heard you right.
Yeah.
What is that? I think that sounds very strange to me and probably to some of our viewers.
It's not strange. It's just a disease that, when in the severe cases of dengue fever, you see that it affects the lungs, it affects the livers, and leading to different and severe cases in the human population. And if that is not taken care of, it can lead to death.
Now, you just talked about a few diseases or things that can be contracted from these tiny insects. It may sound very casual to people who say, oh, mosquitoes. It's very normal. It's more like in an African society or in a regular home in sub-Saharan Africa, it's very normal to talk about mosquitoes. But there's no level of exposure to how much damage mosquitoes can cause to us, just like you just listed now, because a lot of us are not so open to this. Even the zinc fever you talked about, did you say zinc or dengue?
It's zinc fever.
Like zinc?
Fever, yeah.
Okay.
Zika. Zika fever and mild virus. So this has caused a lot of devastating effects on our health, especially the one that affects us mostly, malaria, fever.
So how do these things, you know, get into our environment that much that it will now, because you just said it could even lead to death if care is not taken?
Yeah. Well, mosquito get into the environment due to our own actions. That is when there's poor environmental sanitations, when there's poor waste management, the presence of stagnant water brings about the mosquitoes. When there are long trees or vegetations that are not be controlled because they love staying in a humid environment, right?
Yes.
So when there are climatic conditions that also contribute to the increase in mosquitoes, when the people refuse to discard what is expected of them to discard, you have a long tire rolling around your house. Some people use tires to do fence, and when rain starts falling, go back to that tire, you see that mosquitoes are settling there, breeding there, and then as a result of that, you see the larvae of this mosquito in the tire. And when they grow into adults, they go back into the society and continue to disturb the population. When there is deforestation, like cutting down of all trees, it brings about different kinds of this mosquito species into the environment, therefore even coming back into our houses. When we build our home without screening, all these things are factors that attracts mosquitoes.
Apologies, I just had to quickly cut you there because you talked about deforestation.
Yeah.
You know, the first impression that people have, I had to just keep coming in, is that when you keep your environment clean, or not necessarily clean of dirt, but the first impression is weed, take away all the grasses, make sure you clear up everywhere, do not keep, in fact, some of their trees, they cut down the branches and everything. They said it helps to stop breeding of mosquitoes.
Yes.
But you just also, you mentioned that it brings about a different breed of mosquitoes.
Yes, when the bush is being cleared, like people cleared bushes for agricultural purposes, as a result of that, the species there which has not been affecting the human population will naturally go away, right? And when they go away, a different ones will come. You know, we have two different types of mosquitoes. We have the female mosquitoes and the male mosquitoes. The female mosquitoes is the one that causes malaria. We call it female Anopheles mosquitoes. Why the male mosquito do not cause diseases to us? Because they dwell and feed on plants. So in terms of that deforestation, imagine a place where it's being occupied by the male mosquitoes. You clear the place, right? And once you clear the place, the male species leave the place, and then that may possibly brings another species of mosquito, which is female Anopheles mosquito. And the presence of that mosquito and the presence of human being are the two factors that brings about the disease. In an environment where there is no human being, there will be no malaria, right?
But these two mosquitoes, can they coexist together in a particular location?
Yes, they can stay together.
Okay.
But the difference is that the male mosquito do not bite. And even if it bites, it doesn't have effect on human.
Okay.
Because they dwells on plants.
Okay, they feed on
They
plants.
feed on plants.
Okay.
But the female mosquito dwells on you. When there's human population, that is where they live, because they feed on plants. And their long life or existence in life, their lifespan depends on human population. If there are food for them to dwell in, which is human blood, then they can live as long as 5 to 6 months before they die naturally. And that is when, if they bite you and you cannot be able to kill them, they go and then remove the blood and still come back again tomorrow, even today safe. Yeah. So that is how they live their life, and that continues till their time of death came. But in the case of a male mosquito, they do not live that long because they only feed on plants. Yes, and they do not reproduce. But the female Anopheles mosquito, when they suck the blood, because their blood is used in the production of or lay of egg. So they dwell on the human blood to lay their egg. And the presence of stagnant water or a conducive environment for them will make the egg to what? To grow into larva. And from larva, it gets to pupa, from pupa to adult. And the adult will now go into the environment as matured as they are, and then they do the needful by continue feeding on human population.
This is heartbreaking to know that mosquitoes can do this much to us. Because the first impression that people have at home is, oh, once you clear the grass in your compound, you are free of mosquitoes. And then when you now talked about deforestation can even bring about a different breed.
Species.
So does it not seem like sometimes when you keep some of these trees and all that, does it make any sort of, does it help in any way?
Yeah, the presence of long tree in an environment, you see, when we talk of deforestation, we are talking of what? Clearing a large portion of land for agricultural purposes. You see that human beings are not living there. But when it comes to houses, when you have a long tree, it helps the mosquito to stay there under a conducive environment because of their relatively humid. That is, the place is cold, like it's cold, right? And when that place is cold, it makes them to stay there, and from there they get into the houses, especially when there are openings. So clearing the grasses around the premises is very, very important. But clearing a large portion of land for agricultural purposes, like deforestation, brings a different species, which is the female Anopheles mosquito, into that place. Right. So that is how it's continued to work until the clearing of grasses is done and the environment is clean. It helps to reduce, not control totally.
Okay.
When you clear the environment and you have a tire, you have a bucket somewhere that has been there for over a month.
What about plants, flower pots and all of that?
There are flowers that prevent mosquitoes.
Oh,
we have
really?
species of flowers that help keep mosquito away from houses. So when you get those flowers, their presence alone will prevent mosquitoes away from there. So if you have them, you go there now, mosquito have they cannot come to that place because of the type of plant. There are, when we're in the village, there's this type of flower trees around. I can't recall the name now. If you fetch it and put light on it, it pushes away mosquitoes.
Okay.
Yes, it pushes away mosquitoes. So those type of plants, if they are within around the premises, it keeps mosquito away from household. But you having a tire, you have buckets, or you have a tank that doesn't have a cover, go back to that place, you see mosquito. You see mosquito larva there. And once there is a mosquito larva, they can naturally grow into pupa adults. And once that is matured, then they go into the environment and start causing a lot of harms to human.
You know, you talked about climate change earlier, and I know that World Malaria Day, I know part of the, more like the result of mosquito bites is usually malaria. And I know that World Malaria Day is usually celebrated in April. So
Yes,
let's look at that
April
from
25th.
Yes, so let's look at that from a dry season. And then World Mosquito Day is celebrated August 20th. So let's look at that from a rainy season. So does it mean that mosquitoes have seasons where they are more prevalent and their results, you know, starts emanating in seasons where they are no longer that prevalent? Is it possible?
Now, looking at from that perspective, from November, from November, you see that the level of rainfall begin to reduce. And when the level of rainfall begin to reduce, you automatically control the stagnant water around the premises. And the presence of stagnant water brings about the breeding site for mosquito. So if there is no stagnant water, automatically that will reduce the level of infestation of mosquito in the environment. Why is World Malaria Day celebrated in April? That is because it's about what? The rainy season. And the rainy season comes with different types of diseases like this malaria mosquito we are discussing about, the vector that caused malaria parasite in human population. So from April, you see that the level of stagnation of water is increasing.
True.
Those that have tires, those that have abandoned vehicles, those that have abandoned trucks. When we failed, go back to that place in the next 7 days, you see mosquito larvae in it, and that mosquito larva will grow into an adult. So you see that from the month of March to April to October, you see that the rate of malaria infestation is very high because of the increase in the vectors that transmit the disease, which is mosquito.
You talked about the humid environment when you were describing. So does climate change have any, anything to do with the spread of mosquitoes in our environment?
Yes, when you talk of the climate change, climate change is increase in the weather conditions of a place, right?
Sure.
Now, if there is increase in temperature here, high increase in temperature, you see that it can also drive away mosquito from that premises, because mosquito do not dwell that much in a high temperature area.
Yes.
Because they love a cool environment. So you see the impact of climate change in this regard. When there's high temperature, it pushes them away to another place, right? And when there's a kind of flood as part of the impact of climate change, it can also wash away the stagnant water, and therefore mosquito cannot breed in the flow of water. So it automatically reduces their population at that point in time. But the presence of stagnant water or poor waste management, which is when you go to a waste management site now, you see different kinds of waste. You see rubber, you see can, you see biscuit, you see everything that can retain water. Once you go there, you see that there is a rate of increase in mosquito in that premises. So these are some of the climatic factors that reduce the impact of a mosquito breeding in an environment.
Now, before we truly look at part of the ways that we can stem this, that individuals can reduce this, because is it even possible to eradicate mosquitoes completely in Africa? Probably impossible.
Yes, I will say yes, if we are all serious to do what is expected.
Okay.
Yes, if we are serious to do what is expected, like the clearing, dispose this waste properly, cover your water tanks if it's not used, or even though it's in use, let it be covered.
Okay, that's where I'm going to.
Yes.
I wanted to say, before we talk about eradicating this completely, what are the things that we've been doing that has put us at risk of mosquitoes in our environment? What are those things that we've been doing consciously or unconsciously? Some people do not notice that. Oh, this thing I have been doing is what has been bringing mosquitoes to my environment. Most people buy insecticides every day, and tomorrow they still come down with malaria. They treat, some persons will tell you, I literally treat malaria like 3 to 4 times in a month, or in 3 months I've been treating malaria, and I've become very resistant to it. So what are the things that we've been doing that has put us at risk of mosquito bites that eventually leads to malaria?
Now, one of the things that we do is this poor waste management.
Okay.
You have different kind of can that you are no longer using. Maybe, for instance, you buy milk. When you finish taking the contents, what happens? You carelessly keep the can, and when rain fell, it's stored there. Now, so many people channel their wastewater from the bathroom into the road, into the public space. Go there now, you see stagnation of water, and that is a breeding site for what? For mosquito. So poor sanitation is one of the critical things that brings about a mosquito in our premises, right? So many people build houses without screening, without proper screening of their doors and windows, and when there is an opening, then one mosquito can come there, and when one mosquito enter inside, successfully bite you, go back, you will see that before you know it, they become many, because they have a way of what? Carry each other along, just like the way rat does.
Okay.
You understand? So mosquito, not all mosquito that bites carry the parasite.
Yes, you said that earlier. You said the male mosquito bites but doesn't carry the parasite.
Yeah, doesn't carry.
The female
Even
does.
the female mosquito that is not infected can bite and nothing happen.
Oh, what
Yes.
do you mean by not infected?
Yes, when you know, it's not every human that is down of malaria, right?
Yes.
When a patient who has the malaria parasite in it is bitten by a mosquito that is not infected, that mosquito will carry the blood of these patients that have the parasite and take it. Automatically, it become infected.
Oh, wait. Let me get this description properly before we get back to what you're explaining to us about some of the things that we do that prones us to mosquitoes. I mean, mosquito in our environment. You just explained that if a person who has been infected by a mosquito that is already infected gets bitten by a mosquito that is not infected, that mosquito automatically becomes infected. So that means there's a human interference to carry this transmission to another mosquito and then transfer it to another
human. That is how it works. So if a mosquito that is not infected bites an infected person, either in the hospital or at home, that one that is not infected but bite an infected person automatically become infected. And once he go and bite another person that is not infected with malaria, the person is already infected. And that is how the transmission continues.
Wow.
So that is why the most important thing to target first is the target of mosquito. For us to control malaria, just like every government is coming, roll back malaria. Why can't we roll back the mosquito? When we target the mosquito, we target what? The malaria control. That is how it's been done. Okay. So now go back to our own activities.
Some of the things that we're doing. Yes.
You do not screen your house. You open the door, mosquito enter. You do not have a insecticide net to use or to prevent yourself. You sleep. You don't have a fan to push mosquito away. And even if you have the fan, not all the time we have light.
I was about to say that.
You understand? So even if you have the fan, not all the time you have light. Some people will go vigil because of the bite of mosquito. You understand? Aside that, there are people that are prone to mosquito bites than others. You see, you come to a meeting, some person will be slapping themselves because of the mosquito bite, and one single individual will just quietly sit, and then nothing happen.
Why does that happen? That's another thing. Sorry to cut you. I know you're still telling us some of the things that we do that prones us to mosquitoes in our environment. But then, because you mentioned it, we have to talk about it. Why is it that two persons will sit in a location and one person will say, mosquito is biting me, and the other person says, I'm not feeling anything? Why does that even happen? Now,
in some cases, you see mosquito, they are very sensitive to, one, your choice of cream.
Oh, wow.
Yes, your choice of cream. Your blood type also contributed to the choice of mosquito.
So mosquito wants to know the type of blood that you carry and decide what they want.
It attracts them. It doesn't need to tell them. As they are moving around, they sense the ones that have their own type of what they want. You understand? So once they bite you, you see that somebody will sit down quietly and is not complaining. And another thing is hair on the body attracts their presence.
Oh.
Yes. So that is why it is expected of you to wear a long sleeve or a trouser or cover yourself properly with at least a clothes that will not allow their proboscis, their mouth to penetrate through the trouser to the skin. Okay. So once that is done, you are gradually controlling the presence of mosquito in an environment.
That's a lot, honestly. But let's quickly go on a break before we talk about some of the solutions and the things that we need to put in place. All right, viewers, I'm sure you're enjoying the program. Let's quickly go on a break. And when we return, we'll still be talking to Sanitarian Tijani Egene Eneojo to discuss some of the solutions to staying safe from mosquito bites. Stay with us. Back, viewers, we're still discussing prevention of mosquitoes on World Mosquito Day 2024. I'll be discussing with Sanitarian Tijani Egene Eneojo, and I'm sure you're enjoying the conversations. And now we're back to talk about some of the preventive measures for preventing mosquito spread in our environment. Thank you once again for joining us on the program.
Yeah, thank you for always having me.
And I know you've been giving us insights on some of the things that we've been doing wrongly. Now let's talk about preventions. What can individuals, let's start with individuals, what can we do to prevent the spread of mosquitoes, especially during seasons like this?
Now, thank you so much. One of the things that we do, you know, waste management is one of the critical things that we should look into when it comes to mosquito control.
Okay.
Yeah, because mosquito, the presence of mosquito brings about malaria, just like we explained in the past. You have different types of diseases caused by mosquito, right? So, but the presence of mosquito, especially the infected female Anopheles mosquito, brings about the malaria fever. And one of the things that brings about the mosquito is the waste that you are gathering on a daily basis. And some of these waste are water receptacle. And when the water is in the waste, mosquito can go there and breed. From there, it get to larva, from larva to pupa, from pupa to what? To adults. And the adults go back into the environment and start working on the same cycle. So the presence of improper waste management in an environment contribute to what? The presence of what? The insect that brings about malaria, which is the mosquito. Now, you are talking of the stagnant water. You have different buckets around your premises which you are not using in a while. Why not cover them? Why not take them away? Why not keep them where water cannot get access to? Why not cover your pump, your tank? So many people have their tank open. Why not cover the tank in your premises so that water cannot what? Stay in the place. So many people channel their wastewater from the bathroom into the public road or at the back of their houses. Go there now, you see stagnant water. Why not channel your wastewater from the toilet into the soakaway pit? It is by law that every wastewater generated in a household should go into the your drainage system. That is into a soakaway pit rather. The only water that is allowed from your compound is the rainy water.
Okay.
Yes, but if you go around now, you see different people channel their pipe from the house into the gutter, from the house into the open spaces, which is very, very wrong. So many houses have a drainage system that is not properly clean. Go there now, there is water stain as a result of the blockage of what? The drainage system. And when the drainage is blocked, it brings about stagnation of water. So the clearing of the silts in the drainage system is one of the things that we should do regularly to ensure that we have a mosquito-free environment. Then the waste, the clearing of overgrown of weeds. If you clear weeds in your environment, it helps to prevent mosquito from what? Coming into your premises. Then the screening of the building. You have house, you do not have a net, mosquito net, you do not have a net at the window or at the entrance, or your opening, your ceiling has an opening for mosquito to also penetrate through the place. Cover all those places, it helps to reduce mosquitoes. And then the wearing of long sleeve, the clothes that is more thicker to avoid them having their penetration when they're being beaten by us.
You know, when you gave the description, I just imagined that there was a particular day I walked into somebody's office and I wanted to have an official meeting. And whilst we were there, it's not an environment where you would find any sort of stagnant water, clean environment, very tidy. But in the office, the dark spots had mosquitoes all around. So I'm beginning to wonder, how did these ones find their way there, especially with that kind of clean and tidy environment? Yeah,
you know, when you come to an environment, you may look at the building as clean as it is, but when you go around into inspection, you see some places where these mosquitoes are hidden, right? Like the gutter, if there is a stagnant water there, it can stay there and have the strength to fly from there to within.
Okay.
You understand? And once mosquito is there, sorry, you do not use the chemical to control them, then definitely they will grow into adults and as well start beating people. And when there are long trees, just like I said, vegetation is one of also the factors that brings about mosquitoes. when even in that environment, you may notice that maybe there are long trees that have not been trimmed in a while. Those things serve as a humid environment for mosquito to survive. And once they are there, they will have their way into the house. As you open door, it follow you enter. Another person open, it continue. So before you know it, the place become infested with a mosquito. The compound might be clean. What of the outside the fence? What is happening there? Is the next person doing the same thing that you did?
True.
So if those persons are not doing it, even if you control your own, you have limited time to stay before the mosquito comes back, because your neighbor refused to do what is expected of them to do, just like you did. So these are some of the things that brings about mosquito, even in an environment that is clean. It might not necessarily coming from that your own premises. Your neighbor can contribute. Your neighbor might have a tank claiming that this is my own portion of land. May have an open tank in between the fence. So when the open space is there, mosquito can, it doesn't have boundary, right? It goes from the other neighbor compound to your own premises. That's how it will continue. Then the physical control method, you know, when you want to control the pest, there are different methods.
Okay.
You understand? We have the physical control method, that is you killing them whenever you see them.
Okay.
So many people are clapping for mosquito in the
when
night.
You say physical,
you'll be slapping yourself. Pia, pia, sha. You understand? Even the noise alone.
They say the first time you know that a mosquito is around is the claps.
It's the clap. So once you begin to clap for them, they enjoy your clapping and start coming around, right? So the moment you do not target it well, you slap yourself and even pain you more, right? So that is how it continues. It also causes you not to sleep proper, because that is why they say mosquito, the presence of mosquito causes insomnia. You will not be able to sleep.
They would even sing and they will sing and dance to different tunes in your ears.
You try to slap, but it doesn't do. So these are the physical control. You may use a clothes. If you don't have fan, that is in the absence of power supply, when the fan
you are advising this physical control.
Yes, you can use the physical control, which is not 100% certain, because even if you kill this one, as long as the room, the door and the window and the roof are opening, mosquito will still come inside.
You know, there's no motherly sacrifice without the description of how mothers come to your rooms and kill mosquitoes while you're sleeping with their lights and all of that.
So you see, these are physical control methods. You may use broom, you may use a wiper, towel, or anything, or clothes. Flee all your rooms. It will help you to sleep small before another one come in. You understand? But then we have a biological control method, which is the use of fish.
Okay.
So many people have a fish pond in the environment. Now, some of them are not even doing the fish pond again, but the environment has already been created. Go there now, there's stagnant water. If you go there now, the mosquito larva is there, which grow again, and the cycle continue. So if you have a fish pond and you are no longer using it, cover it up.
So what if the fish pond is still in use? Does it in any way
If the fish pond is in use, the fish in the pond feed on the larvae of mosquito.
Okay.
That is the biological control method.
Okay.
You understand? So when the egg grow into a larva, then the fish will feed on it. Therefore, they do not have effect to grow into an adult from such environment. But the moment you do not have the capacity, or you don't have interest in continue the business, cover the pond. Right? Some persons have this bath at the side of their
storage of water.
Yes, for storage of water. No, this bath now, bath from bathroom that they are no longer using. This one they used to sleep inside and bath.
Okay.
Some persons will take it outside, and once it's baked up and you keep it outside, go there, mosquito is there. Some persons have fridge that is no longer in use, they keep it outside. Go inside there, mosquito is there. You understand? So for all those things to be controlled, you use the biological method, that is the use of fish. If you are into fish pond, then you can use what we call larvicide to control the larval stage of mosquito stage before it get to adults. So once you are able to control the population of the larvae, then it is the larvae that grow into adults. The moment you kill them, they do not grow into adults again. So that is the use of what? Larvicide. Then the use of insecticide, that is the chemical aspect of it. There are different chemicals to be used, to be applied, right? So many people buy this, what do we call it, Cetos, and every day, you spray it, you come and stay inside again, causing irritation to yourself.
Of course.
Causing that is irritation of the eyes. You swallow this thing, then start having some reactions, even within yourself. You understand? So it is expected you call an expert who will mix the chemical and then spray it for you to see the impact of it, instead of causing yourself another problem. Respiratory tract disease can also rise as a result of you using these setters, because you spray today, you spray tomorrow. On it, some persons it has become a habit. They must spray before they sleep. You understand? And there is a limit to what you can spray. If you spray OSS, it's a problem. If you do not spray proper, the mosquito will not also go. So there's a limit to what you can spray, and there's a time limit for you to spend in that room. If you spray, there's a time limit before you can come to the room. Inside. But because you are feeling sleepy, you have sprayed it now. Then in the next 30 minutes, you are inside, inhaling the same chemical you sprayed. So call an expert who will be able to guide you better.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So
another aspect I thought about, what about light? I know you talked about burning a particular leaf or plant that chases away mosquitoes, and I know some persons talk about the fact that mosquitoes hate lights. How true is this?
Yes, mosquitoes hate light, but not in an infested area.
Okay.
Because they need food.
Okay.
Right, and as they need food, and you are their food, so even if there's light, they will come and feed.
Regardless.
Yes, regardless whether there's light or there's no light, whether there's darkness. Some persons cannot sleep in the light. Right? Definitely you put it off. And if you can sleep in the light, mosquito will also try as much as they can to feed on you, even though there's light, because they can also hide small and get to where you are.
You know, one of the most remarkable things about these discussions is that we always try to bring in, especially real life experiences when we're talking about some of these things. I remembered when I traveled for my National Youth Service, and the kind of mosquitoes I've ever experienced in the north were different from the breed of mosquitoes I experienced when I traveled to the south. But the funniest part was that while I was in camp, I don't know what happened. I don't know what miracle happened, but even one mosquito we never experienced till we left camp.
Good.
I don't know how possible it is that as huge and as spacious as the orientation camp can be, I don't know what they did that we did not experience mosquitoes. That's something I wanted to ask about.
Yeah.
Then secondly, why do we have different species of mosquitoes? The one in the south were looking so big compared to the one that I have known all my life in the north.
You know, it's funny anyway, but then, you know, in that orientation camp,
yes,
it is by law that every premises should get rid of pests at least every 3 months by a licensed practitioners.
Oh, every premise?
Yes, every premises, whether regulated or non-regulated. Okay. You understand? Now, in the place like camp, before you come there, they have already done what you call, either you call it, a layman call it fumigation.
Okay.
Yes, but we call it disinfestation.
Okay.
Right? So if you tell somebody that I want to come and disinfect your place, he may not understand. But when you say I want to come and fumigate your premises, well, it is taken. You understand? So once you carry out that exercise by an expert, you see that the level of mosquito will drastically reduced.
Okay.
Not that after that, how many days are you going to spend?
21 days.
21 days. Now, it is expected that that exercise will be repeated after 3 months.
Okay.
That is before the next camping. They will still do the same exercise. By so doing, it will reduce drastically the rate of mosquito infestation in that premises. then go around, you see that cleanliness is going on. At least you see that, okay, they go around, clean the environment. You will not see what we call stagnation. Anything that brings about stagnation is taken away. Right? So some of these environmental factors also contributed. The presence of the camp, as we said. So once that disinfestation is done, either the use of the chemical, the use of foam. There's the one that we use foam by a fungal machine to spray. You see smoke everywhere. And the presence of that kill all the eggs, the larvae, the pupa, the adults. So before you come again, then before the mosquito come again, it will take another time.
Okay. So
that is what they are doing there, right? So pest control is very, very important for us to control the infestations of mosquito. You must target the mosquito, which is the insect that transmits malaria. Okay,
so let's also talk about the regional difference that we experience in mosquitoes.
Yeah,
I had never seen that in my life.
I will not say that maybe the ones in the south are feeding more, right? Okay. Maybe they are feeding more, or the presence of these factors like the water. If you check, the water in the south is more like that of the north, and the presence of water brings about a dwelling place for mosquito. You understand? So if you go to the north, maybe in other seasons, apart from all these environmental factors, the trees and the grasses there are not that much. If you go to some part of the south or southwest or southeast, you see a very thick forest. Right? You see thick forest that mosquitoes are living their lives.
Or is it because they are also part of the riverine area?
Yes, okay. That is what I'm saying. These are the factors: the presence of water, the presence of thick forest, the presence of all those trees contributed to their own dwelling places. But no matter how they feed or how they live, if they do not see blood to feed on, they will still not live longer than expected. Just like I said before. So if they feed well, they stay for at least 5 to 6 months. But the ones that do not feed well will die within a month. But for the male mosquitoes, die within 7 to 14 days.
Oh.
And the cycles continues.
They have a shorter lifespan.
They have a shorter life because they dwell only on plants.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
All right. So how can communities be involved, in these control measures to stop the spread of mosquitoes, if we can entirely stop it? Because I don't know how true this can be, but how can communities, first of all, because we've looked at it from the angles of individuals, so how can communities now come together, to stop the spread? Now,
community can come together, just like we are educating the general public now. They should listen to education or things that they need to do as an individual, because an individual forms a community, right? From one person, he give birth to a married wife, they give birth. A community have started forming within that cycle. So if in that community, they should come together as well to form a team of what we call maybe a cleanup campaign team.
Okay.
And there should be a time of cleanup for every community. It is not necessarily us doing the monthly sanitation as expected. Why not do this thing at least once in a week?
Okay.
Yes, the presence of stagnant water or all those waste brings about mosquitoes. So if a community can come up together and then create a cleanup campaign team, every Sunday or every Saturdays of the week, they do this clean exercise. Or have what we call environmental club.
Okay.
Yes, environmental club, where they can invite somebody to come and educate them on what is happening within their premises and how they can be able to contain some of these environmental factors that brings about the presence of the insect, the mosquito we are discussing about.
Because I had to ask this question because I know that most of the time people pay so much attention to other things. And that's why when I was having a conversation with someone that, we're having a discussion on World Mosquito Day, someone was like, Mosquito Day. Of all days to celebrate, you're celebrating World Mosquito Day. And I told them, I said, if we take mosquito out of our problems, we've solved like 90% of our health challenges. And they were looking at me like absolutely dumbfounded. And we know that there are lots of communities, especially those clustered communities, where they don't even care about what happens in their drainages and all of that. So, and they pay more attention to, for instance, security, they pay more attention to other things. You find it's hard that you get to a street or a community where they don't have vigilante group and all of that. But when it comes to anything relating to the health, especially as little as mosquito that can become really big, there's hardly any attention that is paid to this aspect. That's why I had to ask you, like, what best decisions can they make to ensure that they are able to communicate with each other? Because it's always hard to get people to do things together. So what's the easiest method to use, you know, to get people to understand that if mosquito bites you, it can spread very fast to bite another person? Especially that description you gave, that an uninfected mosquito can be infected by a person and then take it to another person.
Another person, yes. Now, in this case, you know, the most difficult things to control on earth is human.
Absolutely.
Now, this is where government aspect will come in. Just like as we do go out, educate people. The moment they refuse to do it, there should be law for punishment. There is law, not even there should. There is already existing law for closure of any premises that do not obey a simple environmental instruction. We have the right to close the premises. We have the right to seize your property. If we do the job, we can spend the money to do the job, but we'll seize your property to sell in exchange of what we spend to do what you supposed to do, but you refuse to do. Right? So by the time this enforcement come in, because people want to use a strong iron hand before they can be able to do what is expected of them to do. And some persons feel adamant that we have been living with mosquitoes. Why now? There is no any better time to start than now. Right? The best time to live a good life is 20 years ago, and another best time to live a good life is today.
Now, sure.
So people should start changing their orientation towards what is happening in their environment. If you can pay for security fee, why not pay for sanitation exercise as well? Sometimes they don't even ask you to pay. You do it by yourself. Right? You do it by yourself. So when you gather this waste, it is left for the government to come and pick it. But in some cases, the owners of the premises or the ones that generate the waste are responsible for the payments of that waste because it's their property.
True.
Right. So in a community like that, you gather people to orientate them, you educate them on the need to do this and why they should do it. For those that do not want to do it, the law should catch up with them by seizing, by closure, by prosecuting, and then a fine will be attached to every offense you committed.
All right. I wanted to quickly draw your attention to the fact that you said people must disinfect their environment every 3 months. Is that supposed to be an environmental law? And
Yes.
if it is not done, what happens to those people? Because I don't know who enforces these laws, because I don't think a lot of our viewers are even aware of this particular law and how many people actually carry it out and who is checking.
If for instance, in the FCT, there are pest control regulators, right? The area council give emphasis to people who regulate the activities of premises. So many people have gone to court for not doing the same exercise you are talking about. Because at the end of exercise, you will be given a certificate for that period of 3 months. The moment that certificate expired, it is expected of you to call an expert to do the same job and renew your certificate. Otherwise, as you don't have the certificate, a fine will be issued to you first for not doing the right thing. Then after paying that fine, you still pay for the service of the operators that is coming to do the work for you. So it is the duty of an environmental health officer as part of 24 components of our areas of operation. Pest control, public health, public pest control is one of the critical aspects regulated by Environmental Health Council of Nigeria. So many people, an individual can go into the business, And an environmental health officer, as a professional, can also do the business, right? As I am licensed and registered to practice.
Of course.
And the registration as an individual is now every year. Then for corporate bodies like companies, is still every year, and they get permit to do the services. So if you do not do it, the law will catch up with you, and that is what they are enforcing now. Okay. Not only in FCT but all over the country.
You know, I had to ask that question, that who is checking, because I know that before now, I know in Lagos there's something called, you know, the environmental checks. In fact, when people see people like you, the first thing they say is, oh, wale wale. Wale wale, that's the word, like those who check. But it doesn't happen in every other places.
It is happening.
We don't see it in FCT.
It is happening, and why you cannot see most population is because of lack of personnel.
Okay.
You understand? The number in FCT are not much. Not only in FCT, in Nigeria, just like I said in our last discussion, for all the states in Nigeria, we have over 4,000 EHOs not gainfully engaged, either by private or by government, to do the job. But they have the required knowledge, both practical and theory, to carry out this exercise. Some of them have gone into selling of a boutique, selling of tomato and thereabout, forgetting what they studied. So it is a call for government to look at them and engage the population so that we can be able to do the job as expected. You understand? Right. So if somebody come here and do the work, there's a need for him to revisit the place. But because he has enough to do, how many times will you be able to go back to revisit? So it is expected, like FCT, to be shared into zones where you work, I work, everybody bring report to the table, and then gather the data, analyze from the street, and then work on the data for onward implementation by the government.
Thank you so much. Just give our viewers your closing thoughts and your final thoughts on this conversation on World Mosquito Day 2024.
Yeah, thank you so much, my viewer. It's a privilege to share my input on what the mosquito do in our environment. Please, mosquitoes are not your friend. Whenever you see them, kill them. Do not play with them. And once we have a high infestation, call an expert for advice. Spraying of tetanus, all those things, continually killing your lungs, your kidney. Why not call an expert for advice? And at the end of the day, though it's not free because you must pay for service rendered, at the end of the day, you see that you live a mosquito-free environment. And then as an individual, clean up your premises. That can, within your table that you have not been used for long, that have water, go back to that place. You see that there is water retained. Your tire, your vehicle that you changed all the 4 tires last month, they are still within your premises. Go there now, you see stagnant water in there. And then the moment you shake it, you even see mosquito coming out. Why not dispose them sanitarily in order for us to have a safe and clean environment? Environmental health officers are your friend. Whenever you see them, please seek opinion of how to live carefully in your environment, not only on mosquito control or on any other things. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You've always been amazing. Thank you for being a part of the show today. Sanitarian Egene Tijani Eneojo. We really appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma.
All right, viewers, you already heard from him. It's World Mosquito Day 2024. I hope you stay safe. Mosquitoes are not your friends, so stay safe and protect yourself. I am Olamide Alhassan, and I'll see you again next week. Bye for now.